In this lecture, we're going to discuss safeguarding privacy. We're going to talk about some general privacy protections that we can all take. We're then going to discuss spam protections. We're going to revisit the trust marks that we discussed in an earlier lecture and talk about how we can trust a website or how do we know when a company might be trustworthy. We will end by going over some common self-regulatory bodies. Probably one of the most important things we could do to safeguard our privacy is to make sure that we're using strong, unique passwords. A strong, unique, and complex password would be somewhere between 8 and 20 characters. It would use a combination of upper and lowercase letters alongside numbers and special characters. And this is both a professional and personal recommendation. If you don't already use a password manager, I strongly recommend that you do. There are a number out there that are widely used. I really like 1Password. Another thing that you can do to safeguard all of your accounts, and you absolutely should be doing this for credit cards, any type of financial accounts, for social media, anything that you treasure and think is important, you absolutely need to be using two-factor authentication, oftentimes also called multi-factor authentication or MFA. Two-factor authentication is when a one-time password is sent to your phone, for example, through a text message, or when you have to consult an application on your mobile phone to get a software token or an authenticator. Often the way that these software tokens or authenticator applications work, you download an application, like Authenticator I think is one, you open it up when you're looking to log in. You log into your account using your username and password. You're then prompted for a code. The code is reflected on the application. You input that and you're good to go. Antivirus and anti-malware software is also a good recommendation. And it's strongly encouraged that everyone patch and update their systems and their applications as needed. Other general privacy protections include segmenting your networks. For example, maybe there's a server in your organization that's really important. Perhaps it houses a lot of very sensitive data. You may want to limit access to that data by, for example, only allowing individuals that are on business premises to access that. So that server, for example, cannot be accessed remotely. You should also scrutinize and secure peer-to-peer applications. Limit the use of public computers. Public computers that are available to everyone may have keyloggers installed on them, and also certainly limit what you post online and on social media. This is a really cool graphic that I came across during some of my recent cybersecurity training. This, I believe, is updated for the current year. What this shows us is the amount of time it takes a hacker to brute force your password. Brute force means that every combination of letters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, special characters is being input at a very rapid pace until the particular combination that matches your password comes up. If any of your passwords are in the purple or in the red, I would even say in the orange, they definitely need to be updated. You can see that as the number of characters increases and the complexity increases, that is, the further down and to the right you're getting, the longer it's going to take for a hacker to brute force your password. Of course, you don't really need a password that is going to take a hacker 7 quadrillion years to break, but it is important that you do use complex and unique passwords. With regards to spam protections, there are two important things to note here. The first is the CAN spam legislation. Again, this stands for Confronting the Assault on Non-Solicited Pornography and Marketing, requires clear and conspicuous unsubscribe links. You've undoubtedly seen these. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of these marketing emails, there's a link that's likely to be there, that should be there, that gives you an option to unsubscribe from these emails. And the self-regulatory organizations that we're going to look at in just a moment have issued a number of best practices. These include that companies include no false or misleading subject titles, that consumers are given the option to opt out, that consumers are given notice that the content they'll be receiving will include promotions and ads, and that the sender or the marketer's information is included in the emails. How do we know when to trust a website? Well, there are a few things that we can look for. Number one, consider the PII that's being requested. If you receive an email out of the blue and it's asking for your social security number or your bank account number or routing number or something like that, chances are good it's probably not coming from a good place. Secondly, you can check the URL for whether or not it has the https:// prefix to it. Remember that HTTPS, the S there stands for secure. That means that your data in transit is being secured with SSL or TLS. You'll remember from several lectures ago that a trust mark is a logo or seal that demonstrates compliance with privacy and security standards. These are a few examples of trust seals. BBB stands for the Better Business Bureau. TrustArc, Norton, and VeriSign are also common trust seals. There are a handful of self-regulatory bodies that you need to know for the CIPP US. The first one here is the Network Advertising Initiative, or NAI. I'm not going to dive into what each of these self-regulatory bodies does now. We will do that in a future lecture. There's also the Data and Marketing Association, the DMA, the Japan Institute for Promotion of Digital Economy and Community, the European Privacy Seal, the Health Information Trust Alliance, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. The important thing here to remember is, if you were to receive a question that asked you to choose, which of the following are not self-regulatory bodies, you'd probably need to be able to point out, if you were given the top three and then the bottom one was, European Privacy Sword, right? Then, okay, well, it's not European Privacy Sword, it's Privacy Seal. And so that would not be a self-regulatory body and therefore would be the correct answer. In this lecture, we discussed some general privacy protections. These include strong passwords, two-factor or multi-factor authentication, the use of antivirus and anti-malware, patching and updating systems and applications, segmenting networks, scrutinizing and securing peer-to-peer applications, limiting the use of public computers, and limiting the posting of PII online. With regards to spam protections, we made the note that the CAN-SPAM statute requires that all marketing emails have an unsubscribe link at the bottom. And then we went over a handful of self-regulatory body best practices. We talked about how to trust a website. In short, consider the PII that's being requested from you. Check the URL to see whether or not it has the S at the end of HTTP. And check for third-party verification in the form of trust marks, for example. We then went over a handful of self-regulatory bodies. These include the Network and Advertising Initiative, Data and Marketing Association, Japan Institute for Promotion of Digital Economy and Community, European Privacy Seal, Health Information Trust Alliance, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants.